Hello and welcome back. This is a very special episode. This is going to be episode about my healing journey towards becoming more of myself actually, and with that becoming fulfilled with my career, with my work, and how I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe me explaining you this journey of mine can help you understand that you can get to a point when you can actually feel fulfilled in your work, in what you're doing, no matter if you are working a job or having a business. For me, the soul-led part, the energetics part, the spiritual part, the part of being fulfilled, that part of my life and my career is very important to me. So if you are thinking about your career or generally in your life in the same way, I think this episode is for you. I'm super curious what you will think about it. Definitely, after you finish listening to it, please let me know because I definitely have never been vulnerable like that ever on the internet. Hello and welcome to the Soul-Led Career Podcast. I'm your host, Marketa. I'm a career coach and a recruiter. On this podcast, I'm looking at a career in a rather unconventional way. Yes, I give out advice on strategies on LinkedIn, CV, and job interviews, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. As your coach, I am here to provide transformation and help you find your soul-led career. Not the right career, but a career that's right for you. So, are you ready? Let's dive right in. Today I wanted to explain a little bit more about why I have decided to call this podcast Soul-Led Career. So the career part is pretty obvious. As you know, I've been in recruitment and career coaching for years now. So this is basically where I draw my experience from, like let's say my professional experience. But what about the soul-led part? I would say since I was a child, I was very spiritual. But the more I was growing up, the more I was doubting that, the less I was connected to myself. And the thing is, I couldn't even use the word connected. I would never even use the word spiritual because it was just something that could maybe be like potential, like, oh, it's a coincidence, karma, these kind of things. Like, yet these terms I would know, but I lost myself. I completely honestly I lost who I am. Um, I always think of it as like the people when you are growing up, the people that you meet, for me, are kind of like people who you meet by default. Often it is people from your school or neighborhood, etc., etc. And these are for me when you're growing up and you cannot really choose where you want to be. Because it's just your family has decided to live somewhere and so on. That's why I call them kind of like people by default, because it's not fully your choice. So when you are in a certain school, yeah, obviously you're gonna become friends with people that you choose from the school if you're gonna become friends with someone, right? But it's not really that you're walking down the street or whatever, you're traveling and you're just gonna meet someone that suddenly it clicks, right? As a child, you don't really have the opportunity, or at least I didn't have opportunity like that. And so you become conditioned. You become conditioned by society, by the people who you meet, by your parents, teachers, everything. And it's not about saying that the people around you growing up are necessarily bad. It's just that they have their own beliefs. They have their limiting beliefs, and they are speaking them as truths, which we know how truth is subjective, and maybe that's a topic that I'm gonna talk about further on this podcast at some other times, but not in this episode. But anyway, they are spreading their mythote, right? Their truths, their limiting beliefs on you, and slowly by slowly you start to adopt them. Imagine even this episode, I was inspired by someone to be like, yeah, it's gonna be such a nice flowy episode. I'm gonna talk about my healing journey and the way how I became really myself again, or I'm still maybe working on it. And I'm gonna go on a walk. It's a beautiful spring here right now. I'm gonna walk in a park, and you're gonna hear the birds singing on the background. And suddenly I woke up. It was raining here at night, so everything is wet outside. The grass is gonna be wet, and I have no business right now sitting on a wet bench because I want to narrate a podcast episode. But the conditioned control freak in me started being like, "Yeah, but how is it gonna be flowy then?" And I'm like, hey, you shut your mouth. It's gonna be flowy because I'm in a flow, not because I'm gonna make it flowy. And I just like started laughing at myself, and instead I was journaling, and suddenly these things that were coming out of my journaling, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna start the episode right now, because I feel like right now what's gonna come in here, it's really gonna be the me, the flow, without the conditioning. I realized that I'm like longer over 4 minutes in, and I still didn't explain what I mean with the soul led part of the title of this podcast. Soul led career. The career part for me is something that we have learned in our professional skills, in our professional life. But the soul led for me is about understanding who we are, connecting with ourselves, and being able to choose that career based on what our soul wants us to do, what our inner child wants us to do, what our higher self, what the source is leading us up to. Woohoo! What are the words I'm saying? Are you even ready for them? I wasn't ready for those for a long time. When I'm speaking of soul-led career, I'm not speaking necessarily about a certain job or that you need to have a business. I don't mean any of that. And at the same time, I mean all of that. The soul-led part is that you are being true to yourself and you're doing what your heart really desires you to do. But as I mentioned before, since we are growing up, we are being conditioned. And suddenly, what can happen, and I feel like it happens to most people, you forget who you are. You think that you know who you are, but sometimes it can happen that you wake up and you're unhappy in your life, you're frustrated, you might be physically sick, like what was my case. Well, actually, all of these things were kind of my case. And you're like, so this is it? This is it? I'm supposed to live this life being depressed? This is it? This is all there is to life? That's not fun, no, having a life like that. And especially when you realize, like, technically I'm living a good life, right? There is no reason why I should be feeling this way. But for some reason, you're just totally unfulfilled. And it's been a few years since I would say that since I became vegan, so that was since I joined university. So I was like, what, 20? I'm 28. Am I 28? Yeah, I'm 28. So since that time, actually, I joined kind of like more actively YouTube, because as I became vegan, I was like, oh, I have no people around me who are like that. So I was just like started following more people on YouTube. Through that, I started following more people who actually were digital nomads. And those people very often lived in Thailand. They moved to Thailand. Those people then were talking about meditation. And bit by bit, I was getting also to books about mindset, about self-help books about business. And honestly, I don't even know how, but I got back to spirituality. Some people would also connect spirituality with religion, which I always had a huge issues with, because as I was like growing up, my I always had this like torn feeling inside of me, because one part of my family was like very, very Catholic, and the other side of my family was very, very atheistic. Atheistic, is this the right? Is this the correct way how to use it? Anyway. So the thing is that both sides were very loud about how it's supposed to be. So I was always hearing it from both sides, and I, especially as the Catholic grandma was kind of like very forceful, I always felt like all religion is bad because it's forcing you. And actually now when I'm growing up and I'm seeing religious people who are like super cool, and like, oh, that's a new concept to me. So it's kind of strange, how you really define a whole such a big thing based on maybe one person, and then you embody that as how it is. That's the truth to it. But anyway, so coming back to spirituality, I felt always like super drawn to it, but spirituality and energetics in general. But I also felt like it's such a foreign concept, and it almost was something that I would even like maybe even be scared of it. It was so strange. I was so attracted to it and yet so scared of it. Maybe it was because I subconsciously knew the power of it. Um, my mom actually was always, it's so strange because she was from the atheistic part of the family, but at the same time, she's always had this like spiritual side to her. Like she would bring us to homeopathist, to I actually, thanks to her, I went to like shiatsu massage when I was really young. We even went to some, we were calling them witches, but I was a kid. I don't really know who they were or what they were doing. But still, there was a lot of like doubts in me and even in my family. Like in a way, like she would bring us to these places, but then my mom was not really acting spiritual. So it was kind of like always a little bit strange. And that's also maybe why I found it a little bit scary. But anyway, I guess this would be my journey of being conditioned. But the longer I was vegan, the more I was allowing myself to be kind of like a hippie. I guess not that it's really the journey to becoming a happy hippie needs to lead to veganism, or that veganism automatically leads you to being a hippie, but that was basically my journey. And then for a long time, I started to being way more open about generally meeting some energetics healers. For a time, I was seeing this healer who was really helping me, but my mindset was not right about that. I felt like I need the healer to heal me because it's something I cannot understand and I cannot do it. It was basically a healer at the time who was speaking, let's say, or connecting with higher powers, and I kind of felt like a victim to it, actually, right? I felt like she need to tell me what to do. She need to deal with these things for myself because I cannot. So only really at this time I was realizing that I am not. I was really in a victim mindset when it comes to that, and I don't know how it happened actually. I don't know what was the catalyst to it, but it was, I think it was November 2021. So right now it's April 2022. November 2021, I was suddenly like, I'm sick of all of this. I suddenly realized that I have a lot of like physical issues, but all of them were chronic issues. And a lot of, basically, when you have chronic health issues, it is usually connected with something a little bit deeper. It really might be connected with some health issues that you have manifested. For me, those were a chronic back pain, but to the point where I couldn't get up without crying. It was really so painful. Also, since I was a child, I have chronic issues with bladder and kidneys. And later on, I also discovered chronic issues with my thyroid. Um, it's all of this was kind of interesting to me, and I suddenly had this kind of like a wake up call, and I was like, when it's chronic, it's a problem. It's not acute things. It's things that I have manifested to my life throughout my whole life, and it's just becoming worse, and it is just becoming. I'm just manifesting more and more of them, and it's got to a point where I just cannot get up from my bed. Something's wrong here. And in the time, I heard from my friend recommending me this healer who basically she's just like a massage therapist, right? So I was like, okay. And I heard from my friend like, yeah, she also kind of like works with energies and so on, but basically it's just like a very gentle massage. And I was always like kind of like, yeah, cool. She kept telling me to go there. I was like, yeah, cool. And suddenly one day I was like, I called her and I was like, I need to go there right now. So I went there. I saw her, and so first of all, I'm very happy that I was already informed by my friend that she works with energies, and that also that she is into like really feminine flow. That she's not gonna be the massage therapist who is gonna like sorry sorry for those sounds. I didn't know any better way to do that, but who's gonna really do like a crazy chiropractic like cracking to your back, and that you're not gonna be able to move, but it's gonna be like yeah, she hit it hard. And because these, oh my god, I was thriving on these things. I was like, whoa, if it didn't hurt, she did it wrong. But then I realized that this was my approach to life. If it doesn't hurt, I'm doing it wrong. But anyway, this was how my healing journey really started, because I was in so much pain. I just couldn't go any longer. Um, there is this quote from Anthony Robbins that I really like. Maybe I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but basically it says something like, the change really happens when it's too painful not to change. And wow, that for me, it feels so deep. It means so much, because that's exactly how it was for me. I literally had to be crying in the morning to be really willing to change, because this is then what happens. Very quickly, I bonded with the healer. There was, I don't know, no reason, but basically since the first meeting, I totally let go while when she was massaging me, and I just really let her do the thing. I didn't feel like I was holding back. I really just relaxed. And this is how the healing started happening. And this is what I also find so difficult to explain, because I didn't know that I'm in a victim mentality when I was before visiting other healers. I didn't realize that I'm coming there for them giving me answers. And right now, when I'm going to my healer, I know my own strength. I know my own power. And I am doing so much work apart from just seeing her. So then when I see her, we just escalate it always to a new level. But I'm also like, I'm doing my work every day, even though I'm seeing her every 2 to 3 weeks since November. So it's been quite a few months right now. You gotta be patient, because even though I was seeing her still for, let's say, the first 2 months, my pain was slightly relieving, but it's not like it was magically gone after first time. So what's important to say is that the healer can only go as deep as you and your body allow them to go. Again, these are such difficult things to explain if you're not in the situation. What does it mean that you don't allow them to do? because a lot of this allowing is a subconscious thing. But I was really, every time when I'm there, I'm really trying to be very conscious of it. So when I'm for example experiencing, when I'm there, when I'm seeing my healer and she is working on me, she's, let's say she's touching me somewhere on my back and suddenly it hurts because there is an energetic block. What I'm doing is that I'm repeating in my head how much I'm grateful for the pain, because the pain is guidance. The fear that is maybe right now coming up, it's guidance, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm just breathing. I'm breathing, 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 and I'm seeing how I'm hugging the pain and I'm letting go. I'm letting go of the pain. So it's a process. It really is a process. I know that right now a lot of people are like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you're crazy." But the thing is that, again, coming back to the quote, you make the change happen in the moment when it's too painful not to change. It was too painful. It was physically too painful for me not to change. Um, while she was helping me through her healing, um, we were discovering that I have so many traumas stored in my body. I am a person who doesn't have a very strong memory. There's so many things I'm like, I don't remember them. Honestly, I don't remember my childhood really. I just have a weird feeling about my childhood, but I don't really remember it. And I'm not gonna remember what I had yesterday for breakfast. I don't remember so many things happening, but my body does remember. And I didn't know that really, how much my body does remember. So slowly the pain in my back has released. I am not experiencing so much pain right now. Once in a while there's still something, but actually mostly it's gone. But what was happening the last few months was that I started to have a crazy stomach ache. It was always coming in the afternoon, late afternoon, and then basically every evening I was in so much pain through my stomach that I was, I was drinking so many like herbal teas that were like helping me. I didn't want to be taking pills because they would be just making, first of all, I don't like pills. So when it's not really, really necessary, I don't like to take these chemicals to put them in my body. And also because through my other conditions, which is the conditions with my bladder, I know that they would just make these conditions worse and worse in the long run. So when it's possible, I'm trying to avoid such things. But anyway, to come back to the stomach pain, it was so bad that really it was just so painful every day. And it's always was so strange because it always comes at the same time. It comes in this like late afternoon, evening, and then I just need to suffer through. It is happening for several hours. I would have this like hot pillow on me that was making it slightly better, and then it would somehow diminish, and I would manage to fall asleep. But it definitely is not. It's not a thing that you want to really live with. It's not very. It makes it difficult to work. It makes it difficult just to live. So what I really want to talk about right now is my latest session with my healer, because this session was extremely deep and groundbreaking to me. Honestly, I have so much troubles talking about it, not because I'm scared to put it out there. It's just because the experience, I have really troubles to put it into words. It is very personal things, but for some reasons, I don't care. Like I literally don't give a fuck anymore. I don't know what it is. I honestly cannot explain, but I think it's part of my my healing, that I just feel like these are things I want to share, no matter who is going to hear that. It really feels like some part of me has healed, and I don't worry anymore really about these things. So let's get to it. I'm really going to try to structure it a little bit, uh, because it's difficult. But I'm going to, even though the session was not structured, I'm going to structure it into these three key moments that happened there. So firstly, and now also keep in mind that I have been doing this healing for a month. So right now it is way easier for me to cooperate with her, to connect with myself, to connect with the source. The healing is not just coming from her, but it's also coming from inside me. And yeah, so there were things, and there's a lot of things right now going on with my close family, where we don't really see eye to eye, and we have issues together. So when one of the things came up, she suddenly felt the thing that I told her, that I have something going on with my stomach. She felt like, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I feel it in your stomach. There is this like energy block that is like very huge. It's like 3 or 4 centimeters thick layer, and I feel like it's something that you will need to, once you realize what it is, because at this moment I was like, I have no idea what it could be. She said, like, the moment you realize what it is, you will probably need to speak to a therapist. It's not something that you will probably be able to just get through by yourself. You will probably need someone from outside. But let's just leave it out there right now. Then she went on touching my how do you call that? Like the upper part of your of your legs. I totally don't have this word right now in my dictionary, but anyway, so she said, like, it's strange. It's like you're trying to run, but you're forcefully making yourself not to run. Like you're holding yourself back. So think about what it is. And I realized it's probably in this moment, to me, it came the family thing, where I suddenly said something that's going on right now with my family, and I know that it's something that I am not responsible for. It's nothing I can do about that, really, because it's about healing of someone else, and you can never force someone to heal until they are willing to do that. But I feel guilt. I feel so much guilt, because I feel like I'm the one who is responsible for that, who has started that. Um, and suddenly she told me, like, oh, it's gone. Just the fact that you said it out loud, that's it. Like, the thing on your legs, it's gone. Like, okay, wow. Then she kept working on my belly, and then I told her, like, yeah, there is this strange thing. You know, it again, it was something that came to me. There is this strange thing that I've had some traumatic experience happened. They were like kind of connected to sexual abuse, or about to be sexual abuse, like some kind of harassment. One happened when I was a child, and second, not too long ago, a few years ago, when I was traveling. And the second time, it's really like I was almost raped, and it was so strange, because I feel like it didn't get stuck in me. Like, I feel like I should have trauma, but I don't. And in this moment, it was absolutely crazy. What happened was that she was holding my stomach, and she started crying like crazy. Like, she was above me, and the craziest part was that I had my eyes closed in that moment, but I felt like in that moment, like they are forcefully closed. Like, I felt so much pressure on my eyes, and like strong pressure. And I just heard her crying above me while she was holding my stomach. And then when she stopped crying, she told me, it's not you. It's something that happened in your past life that you keep manifesting in your current life, in your current reality, but it's not yours. And I felt it. I felt it so deeply. Like, in that moment, like, I started crying, but not like sobbing, because she was sobbing before, but I wasn't sobbing. I was just like, the tears just started dripping. And I told her, like, I feel this pressure. And like, yeah, because you know it's not yours, and energetically you manage to close your eyes. You don't want to see it. It's not yours. You know it doesn't belong to you. And So this past life trauma has connected with suddenly the family thing that we talked about, and breaking this, let's say, I'm not sure if karma is the right word, but this family karma, this thing that has been going on in my family for generations. And I knew I cannot keep going with that. I knew that it's not something that I want to have in my life, and that I want to contribute to the society, and that I want to pass on to my children. There were just certain things that I was like, I cannot. Like, in the past, I would not have the strength to say no to this. But with the way how I have changed, I don't have the strength to not to say no to that. I don't have the strength to continue this way. So suddenly when I said no, and I put my boundaries, this very real crazy drama started happening in my family, and I realized it's not mine to solve. And the moment I said that, I felt, I don't even know how to describe that. I felt this crazy relief in my stomach, and it was gone. The pain that I was struggling with for months was gone. It's Friday right now. Did not have I did not experience this pain since Monday. Obviously, this is still a journey. Sometimes the things can come back a little bit, and it's, I don't know. Sometimes it feels kind of like universe. It keeps showing you these things, and you. I don't want to use the word proof, but sometimes you need to really like show, like, okay, did I deal with this or not? And I have to say, so far it feels like through this healing experience, I managed to let go of it. It was also connected with when I was back then talking about previously when I was speaking about this chronic back pain. It was also connected to this moment, because the moment I said no to this thing happening in my family, most of the back pain was gone. That again, the chronic back pain that felt like, right, you're thinking maybe like I'm sitting wrong at the computer, these kind of things, maybe I'm not working out enough, these kind of things. No. The moment I put my boundaries and I stood for my values and for what I believe in and for how I think people should treat each other, the moment my back pain was gone. So again, I didn't really know how to structure this episode, because I don't know how you can structure these things, honestly. I also wanted to narrate this, for me to be able to come back to this, because sometimes when I'm healing, I'm forgetting all of the things I'm going through and all of the things I am healing and understanding in myself, and also for everyone else, because we all have our individual journey. We all have our individual journey of healing, because most of us, we don't manage to stay connected the way how we were connected as children. And I'm really hoping that this maybe can help someone understand that the journey to healing is possible. And I know that the way how right now I'm being healed and I'm being the new me, I'm being a better partner. I'm being so much better partner. I'm basically like right now, even if there are still like quite fucked up situations that are going on around us, I know that I am a good partner, and I'm happy. And these were words I was not capable of saying in the past. I am happy. And I don't see a lot of people around me who actually are willing to even say that. Like most of the time when you would ask someone, what does happiness mean to you? They would say something, right? But who connects with that on an everyday basis? Like, just hands on heart right now, how happy are you in your everyday life? And how happy are you without the conditions that you put on happiness? Like, are you really happy just because you're grateful that you got up this morning, that you woke up? that there is another day. Like these are the feelings that I am feeling every day, and it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a awareness. It's a fact that I journal. It's a fact that I meditate. It's a fact that I um, really trying as much as possible to be conscious about the good things that are happening around me and seeing them as a journey, as guidance, seeing them as amazing opportunities. And now, I don't know, is it like 40 minutes in, 30? I'm not honestly sure, but again, why is this called soul-led career? Because me connecting with my soul and letting my soul leading me, I am becoming a better partner. I'm becoming the person I like more. I love myself right now. Shit, I wasn't capable of saying this. I always felt so fake when I was saying that. It's been years since I've been saying that I love myself, but it wasn't really true. It wasn't really true that I would totally accept myself. And since it started happening, I have attracted the most incredible career. And part of it is also because suddenly I am not worried to speak up. I'm not worried to make this episode, even though I've been talking about traumas, family dramas, and potential rape. And I am not feeling scared to do that. And because of these internal feelings, absolutely incredible things started coming to me. They literally started coming to me because I reconnected with who I am. And this is exactly what I mean with when I say in the intro that, yeah, having a nice CV and having a nice LinkedIn is nice, right? It's good. It's important. It's important for your professional life. But it's not the thing that is going to change your life. Because you can attract a nice opportunity through LinkedIn, but because you're not connected to yourself, you're not gonna see it as a nice opportunity. You know, you can have the most beautiful CV, but if the energy behind the CV is toxic, is because you're being hurt, because you're sad, because you're angry, for some reason, the recruiter will decide not to pick up that CV, or the CV will get lost. And this is, for me, it's just very important that I connect with people who see the world this way and who want to see the world this way, because on one hand it can feel completely disempowering because suddenly you feel like your life is out of your control. But the moment when you really connect with yourself and you really hop on the flow and you decide to go with the flow, suddenly you see like, oh, I can actually give up that control. And it doesn't mean that I'm out of control or that my life is out of control. Whew. Um, Big episode. I honestly don't know how this will going to be welcome. This is kind of also for me like a testing it to see if my audience connects with that, how people will connect with that. And I would be very, very interesting to hear where you are, what your stories are. If there is a way how, if you are open to becoming more connected to yourself and to your journey and what it means with your career, let me know, because I think I can help you. The more I'm helping myself, the more I'm feeling empowered to help others. And also, I suddenly see how my healing abilities are rising because I know I've had them since I was a kid, but I slowly but surely I learned myself. I taught myself how to lose them, how to disconnect. Um, and right now I'm here to help you. And it's the most beautiful feeling I could have, right? So if you want to have a conversation, just connect with me on Instagram. I will be super happy to discuss some possibilities for you, or just to connect, just connect with me. I really want to connect more with people who are thinking in this way. And until that next time, I guess just have a great day. Have a great life. Bye bye.